Who's good, Potato? Spin the Leak here. I am a little bit groggy, and the last thing I thought I'd ever be talking about on this channel is a 2011 action-adventure Indonesian film. But here we are talking about The Raid Redemption, and I fucking love this movie. Whether it comes to slitting someone's throat with broken glass, hacking and slashing his way through a hallway, or decapitating someone with a fucking door frame, the main character does not stop. The choreography and brutality of this movie is just over the fucking top. And those are just small instances. But they really piece everything together. Now, before we get into describing pretty much, any of the special effects or instances, let's go ahead and talk about a plot. It looks like a SWAT group is infiltrating a kind of gang base, some sort of organized crime facility. It is roughly 15 stories, completely full of residents. Some of them are parts of the gang, some of them are just trying to get by. But for the most part, they're all murderous assholes or druggies or making drugs or, what the fuck ever. The bottom line is the group goes in, they're there to make an arrest on the boss man. Don't know why that's in air quotes. Fuck it. I'm half asleep anyway. Now, while they're moving through the building, clearing out floors 1 through 5, everything's going as planned. It's all excellent. It's all great. It's all getting there. But they get discovered. And from there on, everything really starts unraveling. You start asking a lot of questions. There's a lot of mysteries to solve. And you find out that the group's really not supposed to be there. There's no backup coming. They were never supposed to be infiltrating the facility. So there's something deeper going on. And kind of your job as the viewer to go ahead and explore that. And a lot of the situations they're put in are so tense that it borders on somewhere between thriller and horror, which is surprising for an action movie. Typically, you don't get a little scared, but some of the stuff is extremely unnerving. I'm not just talking about a kid getting shot in the throat. I'm talking about hiding in a wall and stopping a machete with your fucking face, trying to wipe it off so no one knows that they stabbed you. I'm talking about hordes upon hordes of lunatics rushing at you with machetes and guns in a dimly lit apartment complex that you're trapped in the center of with almost no way out. Just swarms of them. It felt like Resident Evil fucking 5. Now let's start talking about the effects. There was something that really pleased me. It was a mix of CG and just your typical prop gags. And I loved every moment of it. Now, the CG is really used to enhance the slow motion moments and throw blood now and then and just show open wounds and gore and blah, blah, blah. They didn't use it for any excessive movement. They relied heavily on the camera work, which is something that I can definitely appreciate in a film like this. Action movies are all about the camera work. You want the camera to flow with the movement and actually amplify it. The violence of the camera movement amplifies the violence that you're viewing. And it gives more impact to a punch. It gives more speed to someone running. Stuff like that. Just the view that you go with, the way you move the camera, and how quickly you follow the action can really change things up. And this movie fucking nailed it. Now, as far as the gags go, they used it in appropriate places. They used it in places that were brief. They would use it in brief cuts. They would use it in areas where you didn't really have a lot of visibility because it was dark, it was smoky, something was going on, and that is how it should be. It's not about seeing deeper into like some sort of massive cut on someone's throat. That's cool and all. That's excellent in a horror film, but for an action film, you really want to be very explosive, very distracting, and very nice to look at. I'm very happy about this movie, if you couldn't tell. That's another thing. The action in this movie was almost nonstop. I'm not talking about boring as hell Transformers nonstop action. No, I'm talking about there would be brief moments to discover what's going on, or they would build upon it while the action's going. There was definitely context. And this entire movie is really just a trap. You get sucked into it, you can't escape it, and before you know it, an hour and 40 minutes has passed without you even realizing a damn thing. I'm not big on Indonesian films, really. That's more my mother's sort of thing. But this really did it for me. I recommend it pretty much anyone who's interested in a decent action film. If you're just wanting to kill maybe 2 hours chilling out, snacking on stuff, you watch people rip into each other, that's another thing. The choreography in this film was fan-fucking-tastic. The swift movement and the repercussions. Basically, whenever someone was throwing a punch, there's a there was a proper reaction. Instead of just using the camera angle to show like, hey, I almost hit you, it looked like they were connecting. And even then, if it was a small movement, there was plenty of give. You see the actors looking around and actually keeping an eye on their surrounding. It wasn't just, here's the scripted movement, immediately go to it. There was a lot of depth in the combat itself, and it was so vicious, and the camera angles amplified it so much that most of the time the combatants almost looked rabid. It was a joy to watch. It kept me thoroughly entertained, and it is going to be walking away with 5 potatoes. The only thing that I didn't like about this movie that I'm going to completely ignore is that there was no benefit. There was no plot. This entire movie was pointless. The development of it, meaningless. There was no lesson learned. There was no better world created. The only difference this movie made was a higher body count during a specific day. That's about it. Yeah, sure. The characters get something that could get a lot of corrupt cops off the force. Blah blah blah. That was even what they were there for. And if there's a higher ranking official that's corrupt, that's never going to see the light of day. The only thing that really happened in this movie is a lot of people died. Those were probably going to die anyway. There was probably one funny in the movie too. There was one funny moment in the movie too. I'm starting to go on a tangent. So walking away with 5 potatoes. Have you seen this movie? What are your thoughts on it? Go ahead and post in the comments down below. If you're interested in watching it, it's currently on Netflix, so definitely check that out. I'm pointing because my TV is right fucking there. Oh, little TV. Be sure to like, comment, subscribe. Keep on keeping on. I don't know why the entire screen is suddenly orange. I'll see you in the next video. I need to figure out what the fuck's going on with this thing.